Henry, thank you for once again coming on the Comics Odyssey show to talk about comic books. I see you guys, you
Thank
spread all
you.
your books are there. That's cool.
Yeah, I came prepared this time, so not all of them, but I can't fit them all in the screen. I probably need to design a room so I can display all my books when I go on podcasts, but not yet.
I was looking on Amazon. You're quite an accomplished writer. You've done a lot of stuff. It's awesome. I want to
Oh,
read some of
thank
your
you.
books for sure.
Funny that because I want you to read some of my books.
Yeah, so we have entered a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Exactly.
So tell me about your books then.
Well, we can start with these. These three are all part of the series that I call the Retread series, and they're all military thrillers. This one was the first one. I actually wrote it as a standalone, but it picked up some fans and they wanted a sequel. Uh, it was um it was a kind of a Dirty Dozen slash Guns of Navarone type mission, or Where Eagles Dare type mission, set in the modern times, at least modern times as of when I wrote it, which has been a while now. And then when some of the readers asked for a sequel, one of them was a he was actually a military contractor working in Africa. And he said, you should do something on piracy. And so anyway, that planted the seed. And next thing I know, I wrote this. And it is for the same group of former mercenaries, former spec ops guys, take on some pirates and some other bad black hats. And then a third one took it in a whole different direction. It's more of a Kiotwaki, the end of the world as we know it, or was it SHGF? Shit hits the fan kind of novel, but with
Right.
the same characters. So all these have the same characters more or less. I mean, some die, some disappear, but that's what that is. And then this is just one book from a six-part series. I don't know how well you can see it back here,
I can see you.
but this is the first. I gotta probably maximize this.
Well,
There we go.
writing,
So that's the first one in the Paradox series, and it's
okay,
sci-fi time travel, um, sports adventure, and conspiracy thriller.
nice. It's probably the one
So
I'm
those are my
looking for.
novels anyway, and I got some shorter fiction on Amazon, like novellas. I guess you'd call them e-novellas.
What's that
Um,
time paradox book? What is it called?
the series is called Paradox, and the first one is called Escaping Fate.
Okay.
So fate is in all the titles of there's six novels, and all of them have fate in the title. So there's Escaping Fate, Rebooting Fate, Defying Fate, um, Provoking Fate, Resisting Fate, and Confronting Fate.
So is set in the same world or following the same characters?
Following the same main character, and it's believe it or not, it's told in first person. Um, so it's one kid, one he starts out as a kid. So the first one is kind of a coming of age, and he's a latchkey kid growing up in a trailer park in the late 80s, and he's got kind of a bleak future ahead of him. He's on his way to becoming an angry young man, when he hits his teenage years. But an uncle shows up in his life, so he gets a kind of a surrogate father figure. And um, well, one I don't want to give too much away, but anyway, it turns out this uncle is not only a better father than his biological father, but he also has a time machine. So they run into some problems because some heat has come down on the uncle, and to avoid spoilers, I'll just say he has to take him on a pan continuum witness protection program. So he relocates him to somewhere else, another time and space, and he grows up in a uh, different time space coordinates, if you want to call it that. And then it does, like toward the end, it does become a alternate reality because though they know they're not supposed to, they wind up making some changes that affect the time stream.
I see.
So, and then toward the end, as the series progresses, it gets a little you learn a little bit more and more about this pan continuum conspiracy that's after them, and then by the end, of course, the climax, they confront them directly. It's confronting fate.
So just writing a book, it takes a long time and is really hard. So
Yeah,
you've been working overtime.
yeah, and yeah, I would if I didn't have a regular job, I'd probably have, I don't know, 40, 100 books in my inventory, like some of these, authors do on Amazon. I
So
don't know what their
how
deal
many
is if they don't have day jobs or what.
so on average, how many months to from conception to completion?
Oh, it depends on how much time I get to work on it. So like the ideal situation was when I wrote Helen Gone. I had saved up some vacation from work, and so I had 2 weeks of vacation. And I locked myself. I bought a bunch of groceries, locked myself in my apartment, turned off the phone, and I just plowed. I just wrote, for every hour I was awake and not, cooking supper or something. And I got the first draft done in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So that was, if I could do it that way every time, I would.
That must have been
But
awesome. That's just to be able to be in the zone all the time like that.
you're exactly right. I was in the zone the whole time. And I mean, some authors complain about the process and, talk about, they emphasize that it's hard work and stuff, but I love the process. And so I was, just like you said, I was really in my zone, just eating it up. Well, and like as a musician, you probably know when you get in the zone and you're really grooving. It's like time flies, and say, I never learned how to type properly, but I do use all 10 fingers.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think I don't do it right, but I do use all 10 fingers. And I put out, like when I get in the zone, I put out a lot more words than you'd think I would be capable of, because I think at best I can type like 20 words a minute. But like I get into the zone, it's like I go into another dimension or something, and I type a lot faster than I normally could. It seems like, you
Yeah.
know.
No, I get it.
But
I
most
much
of them,
prefer go ahead.
no, 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 didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I understand that idea. Just also like I'm it's better if I can it's better for me to draw for 2 hours or 4 hours than it is to draw 30 minutes 8 times. You know what I mean? Like
Yes,
I do take micro breaks here and there because drawing is quite physical. You're sitting and I imagine the same thing for writing. You're doing kind of a physical thing and you can block up your circulation. You do got to move around a little bit, but I'll
yeah,
do like I'll get up and get a glass of water. That's my break and I just get straight back into it. I love
I
getting
know
in that
exactly
zone.
what you
Do
mean.
you listen to music while you're writing, or it's just the clack of a
Sometimes,
keyboard?
so for instance, when I was writing this one, and we were just talking about boomer music a minute ago, but uh, I listened to two things when I was writing False Flag, and one of them was uh, The Death of Siegfried from Wagner's Götterdämmerung. I don't know, I'm not sure I pronounced that right. Um, and the other one was Gimme Shelter by the Rolling Stones. I
Okay.
just seemed to it fit my mood pretty well. Um, but sometimes like music can be a distraction. So uh, it's it depends. I guess when I'm in when I'm in a certain zone, the music enhances what I'm me getting my head in it. But sometimes it can be a distraction. So no rhyme or reason. I was going to say earlier, and with most books, I just write whenever I can, and even if it's only 30 minutes at a time, which sucks, I'll do it. And like this one, this is the other extreme. This series that I wrote, because originally it wasn't going to be a series. It was just going to be one book. And in fact, uh, that one book is 1,640 pages. Uh, but so for practicality, I broke it into a series. But I wrote that over a period of years, off and on, and I got, life happened and, stuff came up and I got interrupted by this, that, including my, foray into graphic novels. That was one of the big interruptions for it. I had a catastrophic hard drive crash one time and that interrupted it, so it was off and on for a period of years, getting this one done. And of course, that causes problems because you forget something that you wrote 500 pages ago and then you contradict it or you say it again, and so when I edited, I had to go through and look for all the redundancy. And I had a really good proofreader, stand-up guy named of John Earl, who helped me with that. Um, but that said, it was a I was enjoying that process so much because it's I don't know, I guess it was kind of cathartic. And I was enjoying the process so much I didn't really want it to end, so I was in no rush to finish it. And
Hmm.
when I did finally type the last word, it was kind of sad, because it was an experience. I kept going back to it, and it's like I don't know if you have a favorite dish that you like to eat, or some place, like if you want to, if there's a certain pub or a certain bistro that you like to hang out in. Every time you go back, there's like Cheers, right? um, it's a it's a comfortable place. It's a place where I really enjoyed myself. So that's the other extreme of that.
Hmm. It's just all these stories behind the stories, you know?
Yes, there are. Yeah. And of course, I feel like for this one, for all of them, really, there's a lot of my personal experiences in there. And then sometimes it's observation because, and I guess that's something writers do is um, we don't say a lot. I guess depending on the crowd we're in, we watch, we observe a lot, and we see how humans interact, and um, well, I'm not telling you anything new or anyone else, but so yeah. So personal experience, observations, and then just ideas that come to me like, wouldn't it be neat if, and then I think about how the characters would handle that situation, and I start writing it, and
But
then
in
of
the
course
case of
rewriting it. Go ahead.
all right. So in the case of like a 2 week burst of writing, have you done some front loading in terms of like outlines or anything? Or you just German of an idea, blam, 2 weeks, and you've got something?
No, I'm a stick and rudder man. Um, if what I found out because I heard from people growing up, uh, people who it turns out they've never written a book, but they knew more about it than I did, I assumed. And they all say, yeah, you got to write from an outline. You got to write from an outline. And every time I tried to do that, once I finished the outline, it's like I lost all interest in writing the book. So
Oh,
that's something I do not do. But um, there's I think about it, I stew on it, I let it germinate and stuff in my brain for a while, and I can usually tell when I'm ready to start. There's some that I started before I had it, before I had nursed it or nurtured it enough, and I lost steam before before I got anywhere with it. When I was a kid, my biggest problem when I was young, my biggest problem was I had too many ideas all at once. and I get started on one, and then this other idea would occur to me, and I did not have the discipline to finish what I was doing first before I jumped to this other thing. So I have like from back then, and they're probably all horrible. You know, I wouldn't subject anyone to reading them, but uh, and I don't even know if they exist anymore. But I probably had dozens, if not 100 or more different manuscripts that I started on and got a couple chapters in and then just abandoned, because I hopped to some other idea. And it was very fickle that way. But so the discipline, when the discipline came, that's when I was actually able to be more productive. Also, when you're young, I was very passionate about everything I believed in when I was younger. Um, and sometimes passion, you got to put it in a straitjacket, or you got to contain it sometimes, because your passion, it'll run wild, and you end up writing stuff that's just almost unreadable. It's so immature, and it's so hyper focused on some little minutiae that's not that important, or uh, or you come out preachy, so that's something that came with time too. When I got the maturity, when I was mature enough to keep my passions in check, I think that's when I started to write better stuff.
Hmm.
Whereas
So
actually, and you probably tell me if you agree with this, when you're writing lyrics, when you're in music, you can be as preachy as you want to, and like people will still love the song. So you can get away with it in music, seems like.
hmm.
Uh, but that's possibly the only art form. Well, maybe like painting, like still art and sculpture or something. You can be preachy with those and not suffer from it. But telling a story, like a long form story, a novel or a comic book or something, uh, passion, too much passion can kill those, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say I probably did disagree actually. But my taste in music and art has always leaned towards what appears more opaque. Like
Hmm.
lyric wise, I like you grow up and you get the music of your parents, your uncles, the older peers around you. That's how it happened for me. And
Hmm.
but when I discovered these bands that were writing in more enigmatic ways, I found myself very attracted to that, and I found that the other stuff had lost a lot of its luster for me. And the same for, I guess, uh, for painting, a there's a certain craft of painting which is representing a historical event or a portrait that just requires to depict a thing, like a commission of like for Napoleon. Of course, that's going to be preachy. It has to, they're getting paid to elevate the the subject, right? But I always was more interested in like magic realism, which is like it looks real, but there's always something a bit off about it, like surrealism. Um,
Hmm.
I never went so far into like the contemporary art. I never fooled by the, hey, this one line on a canvas is worth $3 million and you should consider it profound. Never fell for that. I do like abstract art if it's pretty, right? But I always
But
was drawn. Yeah, I
you're not a
don't, yeah.
Andy Warhol or
Yeah.
Jackson Pollock, or is it Sidney Pollock, or one of those fans,
Well,
right?
I mean, you can look at those things and they can look nice, right? Maybe it looks cool or something, but I'm not. I feel like it's a bit of a. Actually, comics artist Ed Piskor had a really good way of describing that stuff. He described that as a really good way of disavowing rich people of their money.
Yes. In fact, I have this book over in the corner over there. It's an obscure book, probably written in the 50s, maybe 60s. And anyway, the reason I'm bringing it up is because I read it before I'd ever encountered experimental art. But when I saw experimental art, uh, it reminded me of what I'd read in that book. And basically, the premise is that when you make something that people don't understand, they'll assume it's genius. They don't get it. Um, and therefore, they can't really criticize it because, the author's defense is, well, you just don't understand what I was saying with that. And so it's kind of at least in some circles, it's like a bulletproof uh, way to do exactly what you said. What is that? Relieving rich people of their money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's why I always drawn more to like comic art and illustration because um I like fine art as well, but like fine art that's not stupid, you know. My
yeah.
wife's a fine artist, but what you look at her paintings, they look like a thing. You know, it's not just like a bunch of garbage on there, you know. It's and I realize like so my wife's because of a fine artist, she's a fine artist, she's you know, rubs like she's been in contact with the contemporary art world. And I understand that there's this whole meta level to art that's it's not about what's on the canvas, it's making some comment on art in
Mm,
general.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't care. I want to look at a thing that looks cool or looks pretty or beautiful or interesting. I don't
So
care
she
about
depicts things that are recognizable.
yes, she does. She's a landscape
Okay.
artist, but there's always something a little bit enchanting or haunting or something a little bit interesting about it. It's not just like Norman Rockwell or whatever, right? It's not just like here's a thing that looks like a thing. There's always something interesting to it, right? That invites you in.
Yeah.
Anyway, um,
Well,
you're
so real
also
quick, I want to make
yeah.
sure what I know that I understand what you mean by opaque music or
Yeah.
opaque lyrics. So would you rate like White Room by Queen by Cream as opaque or
I gotta remember
um
in the white room with black curtains. That's all I remember.
yeah, you're doing good.
Well, so
Um
there's that's the start of it. Yeah. There's
or
a Canadian guy in a band called the Tragically Hip. They're a pretty kind of a the Canadian band of the last generation. Um, there's the guy who passed away, the lead singer Gordon Downey. Uh, they were a rock band, so they was quite accessible in terms of the sound. But he would
uh-huh.
write stories, and you could follow the story, but you had to kind of it was a little, always there's a little puzzle going on.
uh,
And some of them you can figure out if you put it together, you really put some time into it. Some of them you can kind of get an idea what it's about, or maybe it's just more of a mood. That was always more interesting to me. There's also a band called Low that I thought had interesting lyrics that kind of it's more like evoking images in the mind,
hmm.
and the story happens in between those ideas.
That's what happens to me when I listen to a lot of that psychedelic boomer
Yeah,
music. It evokes images, and I went through a time. This sad when I was young. I had so much time on my hands. Sometimes I would just sit and listen to music and do nothing else. I
yeah,
can't even fathom doing that anymore. But yeah, and I would just let those. Well, another thing is too. I memorized the lyrics before I ever really thought about what they meant.
yeah.
But that's another thing altogether.
I find that I like art that gives the spectator some room to enter and fill in the blanks because it's
Hmm.
almost like you're invited to collaborate in completing the art in a way. That's why I think
leave.
that's why preachy stuff comes across badly because the message is completed and you don't really, you're just a recipient of it. You don't get to participate in the conversation at all, right?
That's a good point. I think there's some truth to that because some of the most powerful storytelling is when you let the reader or the viewer or whatever fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
And like compare like the movies that Hitchcock made to, a modern slasher, Jason or Freddy or whatever. And sometimes, well, some people would find the Hitchcock films scarier because he uses your own imagination against you in some
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your comic book. I mean, you've got a comic book that you're looking to uh, tell people about because it's going to be coming out soon. I've read some chunks of it it's available on Substack. I
It
think,
is.
yeah. So I don't know if you want to share it. You can click the share button. You can show images or whatever, and while you talk
Yeah.
about it, and just
I got a couple
just
images. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this.
yeah. If not, then
I didn't
I
mean to
can.
cut you off. Go ahead.
No, no, it's all right. If you don't, I
Maybe send a
can.
little more.
You got it, or do you want me to do it?
Maybe if you can do it, go ahead because
Okay, I'm gonna let
I
me
don't see any obvious way to do it.
hang on just a second. I can do it. Yeah, no problem. Uh, Here.
This isn't really. I'm kind of borrowing a computer to do this, and I'm not sure. Hey, it's Windows 11, which I'm not really used to.
There. I should be able to see something there.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah, so let's take a look and just tell us, give us the pitch, and then we'll close out the podcast.
Okay, so the name of the graphic novel is Threat Quotient, what you see there. I'm sharing episodes weekly. People can look at it for free. They're on Substack, and the there's it explores the idea of what heroism really is. Because if you think about when you think about when you consider the way people think about themselves, no one really sees themselves as a villain. No one sees themselves as a bad guy. Uh, People, when they tell the stories, when they rearrange stories in their mind, they're either the hero or the victim. So there's that. And having said that, there's two different groups, or they become groups before the story's over, of superpowered individuals. At least most of them are superpowered. Some have no powers, but they're in this kind of um, superhero mecca of my alternate reality here. And what brings it to a head, what brings these two groups uh, into a showdown, is there's a situation in a little Asian country where it's on the brink of civil unrest or possibly even civil war. And so these two supergroups go there, one one to back one faction and the other to back the other faction, and that's what leads to the combat. And then so there's action. There's definitely some hero punches villain, but there's also a lot of not a lot, but there's for a comic book, there's for a graphic novel, there's you know depth of character. There's some character development. The three primary characters have their own arc, um, and I don't know what else
Well, there's
can I say about
chickens,
it.
there's
That's it in a
tractors.
nutshell.
Yeah, I like that there's chickens and tractors. I like that that I actually really do. It's attractive to me. I love farm stuff. So
So
that's definitely
my artist told me when he got to that point, uh, is Luke Stone, by the way. And he got to that point and he says, I've never had to draw chickens before. So you've stretched my boundaries with this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been reading it. I The last one I read, I was a little bit confused, but I'm seeing I missed a few. So I'll have to go back and just like catch up because I read like the
Oh,
first four or five that you released, like this stuff, like I've read this stuff. I thought it was
uh-huh.
like well done. Like it's the pacing, it just keeps moving along. There's nothing boring about it, and everything's clear, which is not easy to actually kind of difficult to pull off. So yeah, good job. So I'll put all the links
Well,
to
thank
where
you.
people can check this out because I know you're hoping to crowdfund this soon enough. So try to get some eyes on this.
Man, I'm hoping I
And
don't have a whole lot of people subscribed. By the way, see, if you had subscribed, Ulysses, you'd never miss an episode. Uh,
I did
but
subscribe.
anyway, yeah. Oh,
Didn't I
dude,
subscribe?
okay.
I thought I did.
Huh?
I thought I
Oh, you don't
subscribed.
check your email, maybe.
Oh, you know
Yeah,
what I
well,
got? You know what I got? I was subscribed to too many things and I changed the notification where I get notified only in the Substack. So
oh,
I
okay.
yeah,
All
that
right.
that's probably why, yeah. But
Well, I
I'm
understand doing that for sure.
yeah. Well, I was subscribed. I probably have to prune my subscription. But yeah, the main thing is I can vouch for you. So people who um who are following me can should I'm saying Henry's a good guy. We play Fate Core together. I read the books. I've talked to you a few times. You're a cool guy. I think that people should give this a shot and just kind of because ultimately like on the internet I've kind of find like a lot of it has to do with, well, is this a guy that I trust, or is he gonna just suck, or you know what I
Mm.
mean, like, so I
Yeah,
feel like,
yeah.
yeah, no, I can vouch for you. I think you're a good guy, and you're obviously like an accomplished writer, so it's gonna be interesting to see what you do with this comic thing. So yeah, so
I appreciate that.
good luck with
And I
that.
understand
And
too, because,
yeah, go ahead.
just going to say, I understand because I'm only subscribing to a few things, and I don't even have time to read those most of the
Yeah.
time. And
Well, that's
so
the
there's
thing
so
when
much out
you're,
there that's really good, and I would like to read
yeah,
more of it.
yeah,
But man, making comics are hard. It's time consuming.
yeah,
It's like
that's for sure. Yeah.
every spare moment I have going into finishing this.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
cut you
well,
off again.
have
I
you?
apologize.
Yeah, no, 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 no. There's nothing. I think we got a bit of a lag because you're in another country or something. I think maybe I left my VPN on and it's slowing things down. But yeah, when your Kickstarter, whatever, is going, we'll do another conversation. We'll just kind of have a little hangout. It'd be nice if we had like a bunch of us that we kind of know, just kind of hanging out. But yeah, we'll see how
I
it
think
goes.
so.
I haven't been making as many podcasts because I prefer to be working on my comics.
Right? Yep.
Yeah, like like it's just you feel like you're getting behind if you're not working on it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I do
Today I've
like,
been doing marketing stuff, and I haven't got hardly any work done on the comic, and I'm like, it's got to be done, but I feel so guilty. It's
yeah.
really frustrating.
Yeah, but I do like hanging out with you, so I appreciate you coming on. So,
Well,
yeah,
ditto. And I'm an introverted guy, but when I hang out with other creatives or even just literate people, I tend to really enjoy times like that.
yeah. Well, yes, I can
And
read.
one thing I should mention is that I don't know if you heard about this, but Fund My Comic has been publicizing it a lot on Twitter stuff. There's a company called Alterna Comics,
Yes,
and they buy equipment so that they can print comics on
yes,
newsprint.
yes,
So you
yes.
know about this.
Yes, yes.
So,
And so I would suggest also keep an eye on his YouTube channel because he does an occasional open mic, and you can actually go on his show and talk about your comic. And he's Peter
oh,
Smeti,
really?
is a really nice guy, super cool, very supportive, and like he's been. he's been grinding this for like 15 years, something like that. Like he's got the game down, and I really appreciate that he's doing what he's doing. Yeah, no, he's cool. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so my graphic novel's 108 pages. And the max he'll be able to do is 48. So I'm not going to be able to print the whole thing that way, or I would. I probably definitely would, because printing's so expensive. But what I decided, I bought a voucher from him. So what I'm thinking is, because he'll do one up to like 48 pages. He'll print something up as much as 48 pages. So I'm thinking I might actually print a couple floppies through him on newsprint and take them with me. I'm going to BasedCon in September, and hopefully I'll be ready to crowdfund by then. I plan on taking some of those with me to, maybe sell or hand out,
Like
or at
as a
least
like a
advertise what I'm
teaser,
doing.
like a preview.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool. Yeah. Right
and
on. Well, keep me posted of like what's going on with your thing. You know, it'll be
okay.
I also like talking with you as your writer. I kind of use it as a free free consultation because
Oh,
I'm less of a writer than an artist, I think. So, yeah.
no problem.
Cool.
Yeah, and
All
maybe we
right.
can work together someday.
Oh man, I'd love that. I like writing. I like coming up with ideas, but I do know I have to work with someone who's better than me at writing. So yeah, um, you know, I'm getting better too. So eventually, at some point, I'll be worth working with.
No, the latest stuff I saw from you is it's kind of creepy, but it's good. I can see just in a short amount of time you've really improved.
Yeah, I kind of jumped. I had a recent like kind of a breakthrough, so that was nice. So anyway,
Yeah.
we're almost out of time here. So thank you. All the links will be in the description, and yeah, God bless.
All right. Thank you. God
Okay,
bless.
bye bye.